Hello, I'm Emma from Curly Seams, also known as Curly One. Today I'm going to talk you through a technique that we showed on episode 16 of the Curly Seams podcast, which is a tessellated quilting design that I did quite a few years ago. This was my original sample that I did for a quilting class, and I decided I would give it a little bit of an update, which was when I did this. And we showed this on the episode, so I thought that I'd just sit down today and give you a quick demo on how to do this. So first of all, I'm going to talk you through what you need to do the technique, and then I will show you how to do it. Okay, let's get started, shall we? So, fabric choice. I would recommend that you keep your fabric choice to a plain or a tone-on-tone or something like a mottled, but something that allows the design to speak out. I think if I show you the back of my original quilt design, you can see that if you use something that's got a pattern on it, you just lose the design. You can't see it. So by using a plain, it allows you to see the design, and it really sort of stands out, I think, on that. You're also going to need some wadding. Now, it's completely up to you what you use. You can use an 80-20, you can use a polyester, you could use 100% cotton. If you use one of those waddings, then you are going to get a much softer feel to your design. I also experimented using the foam type wadding, Bosal or an equivalent make. And this does give you a much more rigid feel to your work, which again is quite nice because this, I don't know if you can see this, and I will put some photographs up, but this does allow the design to really pop out, and it gives it a great structure. So you're also going to need some thread. I used the Aurifil variegated 28 weight on my project, and I think it works really well. It's a very subtle variegation, but I think it looks really nice against the deep, the red of the project. So I think that's great. And it also comes in some lovely colours. I think I might try that one next, actually. You could also use, I don't know, this is just what I had in my box. This is a sulky, which again is a variegated. You could use a plain. So long as you've got a good contrast, I think, against your fabric, I think it would work really nicely. And the other one that I'm quite partial to is the Madeira rayon threads. These have a lovely set of colours to them, and it's quite a marked change in colour as you go through the project, which is quite nice. And it's got a lovely little bit of sheen to it as well, so it really stands out quite nicely. The only thing I would say about if you've got a thread that has a very marked difference in the variegation is to make sure that you are not using a fabric that matches one of those colours, because you then lose the stitching with that colour thread on the colour of the fabric, so it looks like you haven't stitched anything, if that makes sense. You are also going to want to think about changing your needle size, especially if you are using one of the slightly thicker weight threads. Make sure that you perhaps go up a size on your needle on the machine to accommodate it. With regards to the bobbin, I just used a normal, just plain grey in the bobbin because my stitching is going to be hidden by a lining fabric at the back, so it didn't really matter what I had on the back. But you might want to test it just to make sure that you haven't got any tension issues with your machine, and that you can't see any of the bobbin stitch coming up through the top. If you do, then you might want to consider putting the same in the bobbin that you have on the top of the machine. You are also going to need a marking tool of some sort, and you are going to want to put your walking foot onto your machine as well. I'm going to mark it out onto my fabric, and I'm going to use a light 2B pencil to do my marking with. You can use whatever marking tool you have a preference for. There are the water erasable ones, there are time erasable ones. You know, whatever you've got that you like using, then make use of it. So we're going to use a ruler and we're going to draw a grid. Now I am going to start at this end. The great thing about this project is that you can do some and you can then add to it if you would like to make it bigger. So I'm going to use my ruler and my marking pen or pencil, and I'm going to draw a grid. Now I'm going to do 3-inch squares for this design. So each square is going to be 3 inches. So I'm just going to mark a small grid, and it's going to be 6 by 6, and I'm just going to make a little mark there. That I formed a square on my fabric. I hope you can see that all right from the camera. So like I say, you can use any size square you like. You can make 2-inch ones if you want. That's completely up to you. So hopefully that's clear from the camera like so. Now I'm going to layer this up, and I'm going to put some wadding underneath it, and I might spray baste it just to keep it in place, but it's going onto a cotton wadding, so it should just stick to it quite nicely, all being well. Okay, so I've now got my walking foot on my machine and I've loaded up all my thread, so I'm ready to go. And the first thing that I'm going to do is lift my bobbin thread up to the top. So I'm going to lower my presser foot, and I'm just going to make sure that I'm in the right position for where I want it to be, and I'm just going to lift the bobbin thread up to the top like that, so that I know where my threads are and that it's not, and I can't get hold of it with my tweezers, so I'm just going to use my fingers instead. Right, so I'm going to secure those threads by using the locking stitch on the machine. If you haven't got a locking machine, you can just leave the threads as they are and then take them to the back later when you're finished. I'm going to turn the speed down on my machine a little bit, and I'm just going to sew over that grid that I've drawn with my pencil line. We're going to start from this top right hand corner in this top right hand square. We're going to deal with each square individually. So we will quilt this square, and we will then go on and quilt the next one. We're going to start in the top right hand corner of all of the squares, so we're consistent. So I've got hold of my top thread, and I'm going to just lower and raise so that I can then get my bobbin thread up and out of the way, and then I'm just going to reposition it so I am back in that top right hand corner again, like so. Now I'm going to stitch down towards me, and I'm going to come in about 2 stitches at this end here. So it's a slight diagonal as I come down to hit this line. So let me show you what I mean. So I'm just going to stitch down, and I'm just going to eyeball it just roughly, and I'm going to come in a couple of stitches. Now I've stopped just there, so I'm just going to turn the flywheel towards me and rotate it once so that I do actually hit that line properly. Now I'm going to lift the presser foot, and I'm going to rotate it round. Lower the presser foot, and then I'm going to stitch again down to this line here, and I'm going to again come in a couple of stitches in from that point there. I'm going to slow my machine down a little bit because it was going a little bit quick for me. So you can see that I'm just bringing it out ever so slightly so that I am coming in sort of 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch from the stitch line, and again I'm just going to rotate it round so that I hit that line properly. Lift the presser foot and rotate round. Lower, and again stitch all the way down, coming out ever so slightly so that I hit that line. A couple of stitches, and one more, and stop. Now I'm going to lift and rotate round again, lower, Now I'm going to stitch again from this point, and I'm going to bring it in slightly, but I'm going to stop at that new line of stitching that I've got just there. So stitch down, and again, like I say, I'm coming in and stopping at that new line. And again, if you stop just short, you can just use the flywheel just to bring you back into place. Lift, rotate, press a foot down, and again, off we go, coming in from that new line of stitching that we've got now. And I'm just going to stop there. Lift, rotate round, off we go again. And that's all there is to it. You're literally just rotating round, coming in a couple of stitches, an eighth. Now that's quite close, so I'm just going to stop and use the flywheel just to turn it and hold it in place. Lift, rotate, and off we go. And there, hopefully, you can see the design finished. So that's one square done. So then I would then go on to the next one, and again I'd start in the top right hand corner of the box, and I would do exactly the same thing and complete all of the squares in the grid to finish off. Right, so I've done 4 blocks, which I think shows the design quite nicely. I think you can also see where I made a couple of mistakes. I sped that little sequence up because I ran out of thread, bobbin thread, part way through, and I was also cursing myself on a couple of occasions because I wasn't concentrating on what I was doing, and I went over, and I think you can just faintly see, where are we, just there, I went over the line and reversed. I kept hitting the wrong button on the machine for some reason, but I think you can see how it comes together quite nicely and how effective it is as well. I think it's lovely. So I've done 4. I am going to go on and do the remaining 2, I think, and I will probably put a picture of that up at the end. If you are bothered by the wadding on the back while you're stitching, you can of course put another layer of fabric on the back just to protect the machine from the wadding bits, but it goes through quite easily. If it's not one, it's the other. Although I have to say that's a little bit more calming than the drums. I love my family. We do. Right, so that's all 6 panels done now, and well, I think it looks lovely. Hopefully you do too. I'm quite pleased with it. I might have to go back and correct that little mistake that I made, but we'll see. You can, of course, by all means, measure this out, mark it out if you want. If you're not very comfortable in just winging it, you can certainly get a ruler and make some little marks, you know, of where you need to go and to go round. You can also, you know, count how many rotations you do so that you're exactly right. I'm a bit of a fly by the seat of my pants type girl. So I just winged it, basically. I'm lazy. Right, that's it. Thanks ever so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I think I've certainly learned a lot about filming for demonstrations and tutorials and things, and what not to do. Mainly not to have the family in the house at the same time, probably. But I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it gives you a little bit of inspiration and that you maybe give it a go. And if you do, then please let us know. We'd like to know what you got up to, how you got on with it. If you like the video, perhaps you could give us a little like down below. And if you haven't subscribed already, that would be great if you could do that also. And also don't forget to click the notification button so you'll also get the new videos as they come up. Thanks ever so much for being with me today, and take care, stay safe, and hope to see you all soon. Bye.